Hey everybody, it's Tim with Collect Jurassic, and I'm back with another toy review. This time we're looking at the Jurassic World Sound Strike figures. We had a bunch of Primal Attack toys that we just got in. So many that we had to do a two-part review. The first part, we went over the massive biters, but for this second part, we'll be going over the Sound Strike Cryolophosaurus, Triceratops, and Pteranodon. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and open these up and look at each figure in depth. Here they are. We're going to go ahead and get started with Triceratops. We'll look at that one in package first. So Triceratops here, you can take a look at this. This is actually, not the first Triceratops we've gotten. And we can talk more about that once we open this up. But yeah, another Triceratops from Mattel. I think this is number 4. I think. So here it is, the Sound Strike version in the box. Obviously, every Primal Attack figure review, we have to talk about this cool background. Maybe you're new to the reviews and you haven't seen it yet, but we love the fences and the sunset vibe. Very, very cool. The packaging this year for all the Primal Attack figures looks really nice. Of course, we never talk about Blue and Owen down here, taking up a pretty big real estate on the front of the package, but they're on every package too. See, Triceratops ready to get out of the box already. But yeah, other than that, pretty much all the packaging for these Sound Strike figures looks the same, but we'll still take a look at each figure and how it kind of sits in the box. But you can see the Triceratops here is just just sitting here on its side, ready to get out. On the back of the box, we have the diagram of how the figure works. It's a render of the Triceratops, and it just shows what you can do with that Primal Attack action that's signature to all of these toys. So that's just showing you how to do that. But yeah, this is the Triceratops in the box, and this will be the Triceratops out of the box. This one's going to be real easy to unbox. All these they're just held in by a couple ties, so it's really that easy to get it out. And she's free, so we'll go ahead and put the packaging off to the side here. Got our nice little background of Cryolophosaurus and Pteranodon. But yeah, this is the Triceratops figure, the Sound Strike version. It's pretty much identical in sculpt to the 2 dual attack versions we have, as well as the first Roarvors version. Same size and everything, same sculpt. It's just retooled for that Primal Attack feature, but sculpt wise, really can't talk too much about this sculpt other than the fact that it's, again, exactly the same as those previous releases with just some slight retooling for the action feature, but still looks great. Obviously, this sculpt is one of the first ones we got, but this still has all those cool scales in the frill, scales throughout the body, big scales, different sizes. And everything about it is just sculpted to be very film accurate to Jurassic World, the Triceratops design from those movies. So still holds up about a year and a half later, maybe even 2 years later. It's still a great Triceratops figure. And this newest paint scheme is sort of a new take on it. It's kind of two-tone. I think the other Triceratops paint schemes were kind of the same thing over and over again with just different colors applied. A base color with some splotches. Man, this one just likes to make noise by itself. But yeah, the other ones were just kind of a base color with splotches. But this one sort of has this two-tone thing where the head is one color and it kind of extends into the back, and then there's a darker color here on the back above the hips too, that sort of give this one a very unique paint application in comparison to those others. So pretty interesting. I like how they kind of did this, I guess you call it like gradiated out light color for the frill and the horns. So instead of painting the individual horns one color, there's kind of like a gradation of light color that goes up the frill into the horns. So a little bit different too. But yeah, let's talk about the actual Primal Attack feature, because that is what is unique to this one. So without further ado, it's all controlled by the tail here. You can see you move the tail and it automatically starts the sound effects for you. You can rotate it side to side. You can make it go up and down. Let me just hold it like this. You can make it go up and down. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I love the Primal Attack features on all the figures we've reviewed so far, and I think this one looks really nice on the Triceratops. And it's kind of hard to talk over all that roaring, but I kind of like how he bucks up when he puts his head up. Obviously, the rotation is nice. You can kind of make him graze, too. I mean, see him? He's just kind of grazing. You can do some really subtle movements. Like all the Primal Attack, you can really do some natural movements with this. Yeah, so lots of movement there. Kind of do like a charge with 2 different Triceratops too. Yeah, it's really hard to talk about this while it's screeching the entire time. But hopefully you were able to hear me over all the roars and kind of get an idea of that excellent fluid Primal Attack feature, that signature of this toy. But other than that, this Triceratops really is you know, molded just like the ones we have previously from Mattel, just with that unique paint scheme. But a worthy addition, I think. Definitely considering the Primal Attack feature and this more unique paint application. So that's Triceratops. Now let's take a look at Pteranodon, which this one actually is a little bit different than the Pteranodon figures we've gotten before. Go ahead and park Trike back here. Here is the Pteranodon in the packaging. It's, you know, like all the Pteranodons that we've gotten from Mattel, it's packaged flat up against the background, so you kind of have to hold the figure on its side to get you know, a good view of the head. But there it is in package, beautiful background on full display. And again, on the back, we're going to have the diagram of how the different buttons work. This one's a little bit different for Primal Attack, and we'll get into that when we open the figure itself. But that is the back, and back to the front here, you can get a nice view of the wingspan, even though the wings are folded, but you kind of get an idea already of the interesting paint application on this newest Pteranodon release. So let's break this one out of package. Again, going to be a relatively easy figure to unbox with just a couple cuts of plastic, and it should be free. Like I said, pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and open up those wings, get the full wingspan here. Ooh, I like this. This is different. I didn't know about this. So you can already see, well, let's talk about the mold first. We won't get too excited about the paint, but the mold here is a, you know, Pteranodon that we've gotten a few different times, but this one is actually a repaint of the Dino Rivals. Let's see, you got to think about this. The Dino Rivals Dual Attack Pteranodon. Yes, it had like a yellow beak back here. Some of the earlier Pteranodons that were Roarivores kind of had a different sculpted head, but this is the newer sculpt. But it has been retooled again for the Primal Attack feature, just like the Triceratops. So there is a couple key differences that we'll point out here. But yeah, it's basically the same figure as that previous release, but with that new Primal Attack action. But paint-wise, I think is what makes this figure truly unique, just because the action feature you'll see isn't too crazy from what we got with Dual Attack, but these kind of stripes back here, almost looks like flames. It's very, very different from the other Mattel Pteranodons we've gotten that were a little bit more solid colors or tones of colors with some shading. This is like very defined kind of stripe work back here. So very interesting. It is just on his back too. It's not on his belly. It's just one color. And then that kind of has these colored tips of the wings too, which is a nice touch. The eyes, of course, are painted yellow and black, and then there's teeth inside the mouth and a tongue, painted tongue. Yeah, Pteranodons did not have teeth in real life, but I believe in Jurassic, a lot of them sometimes do. So that is why they added teeth to the toy version of this figure. But yeah, that's pretty much the paint application for this guy. But let's talk about the action features. So first off, we have one button on the back. You can see there's 2 buttons on the back here, but one button controls the beak, so it opens and closes its mouth. Hear those nice sound effects. And then the other button flaps the wings, which, oh man, this is gonna be kind of hard to get in frame here, but you can see it flapping. What's different about this, besides the obvious sound effects that are making it hard to hear me in this review, what's different about this figure versus the Dual Attack that also has 2 buttons on its back is the Dual Attack, obviously, that version has a mouth opening and closing action, but the flapping feature for that is literally just at the wing base here. But for this figure, it actually flaps midway through the wing too, so you get more of like a let me see if I can get you a good view of this, a more realistic See how that whole wing pivots? So this looks a little bit more, you know, a little bit more realistic, you know, relatively speaking to what a toy is capable of. But it looks cool. I mean, it looks, again, it's kind of hard to, I don't have the clearance here on my table, but I don't know, it's that much more believable. We see plenty of Pteranodon toys through the ages that just have that single hinge flapping feature, but something about this added mechanism in the middle of the wing, I don't know, it's just really nice. Yeah, that's fun. So, you know, normally the dual attack figures have sort of like a tail mechanism. We've looked at the Carnotaurus, the massive biters. We're going to look at the Cryolophosaurus. They sort of have like one place that you kind of move the whole body around, sort of like a lever that goes inside the whole figure. But the Pteranodon here doesn't really have that. It has more traditional buttons, which kind of makes it unique compared to all the other Primal Attack figures. But I think it actually works really well because, again, we get this really cool flapping feature that isn't on any of the other Pteranodons. So paint scheme and cool action feature, similar to the Triceratops. It might be, you know, a retooled release, not an original species, not an original design, but I think it's kind of new features justify it a little bit. So that is the Pteranodon. So time for the main event. I think everyone here is pretty much here to watch the review for the Cryolophosaurus, so we won't wait any longer. Here it is, Cryolophosaurus in the package. Looks great. This yellow paint scheme I was immediately in love with, and it looks great in the Dino Rivals packaging, especially with that cool saturated background and everything. So really pops off the shelf. I think this toy is like made to sell in the store. I mean, seeing this thing on shelf, any kid walking by who doesn't know about it, it's going to have their attention grabbed. And obviously adult collectors too are going to love this figure because of it's a new species. It's definitely vibrant, and it's got some really interesting features too, as well as that that primal attack. So without further ado, actually let's go ahead and look at the back too. We won't open it quite yet. The back, like all the others in this review, shows off the action features. I actually kind of like this interesting pose they have here for the head strike. Kind of a nice touch, but that's the back. But let's waste no more time and get Cryolophosaurus free and out of the box. Oh, falling out here. All right, so like the others, a very easy unboxing. That is Cryolophosaurus, looking very nice now that it's free from the package. Oh man, yeah, the detail on this is really, really cool. You know, I think when this figure was first unveiled, we had blurry, fuzzy pictures of it. Even the official pictures didn't really do this one justice, I don't think, because there's just a ton of detail here. And, you know, your gut instinct is to look at this and say, oh, this is kind of, it almost looks like a cartoon a little bit. But then when you really get into the face and how the face really looks, sculpt-wise, there's just a lot of cool detail there. I actually have the mouth posed closed right now, but we'll get into articulation with this one later. Yeah, the articulation does allow you to open and close the jaw, so we'll open the jaw a little bit for this sculpt review. But yeah, the detail, I hope we're getting it across in the camera. The skin is incredibly detailed. Look, you can even see the ribs on the body, all these wrinkles in the legs. See the wrinkles right here, very cool. The ridges on the feet, toenails, smooth. The head, though, is where the detail really shines. You can see all of that individual kind of crisp detail on the head with the scales, and then of course the signature Cryolophosaurus crest has like nice lines running through it, almost looks bony, which I think in real life it might have been some sort of covered bone. Someone in the comments will tell me scientifically what was going on with Cryolophosaurus's crest, surely, but looks really cool here. They also have this interesting ridge on the back. I don't know if it's scientifically accurate, but there it is, and it kind of gives the figure a unique silhouette. Like if you didn't have it on here, it would be a little bit more of a basic carnivore. There's also like some interesting little like spiky bumps coming out the tail too, so it almost has like this ridge that starts at the head and kind of tapers off as it goes towards the back of the figure, which is an interesting design decision. Probably not something based in scientific fact, but still looks cool. Like, yeah, sculpt just looks really great. I love the teeth are kind of irregular. heard people compare this to an Indominus Rex, and I think that's probably the biggest callback to that, is sort of these irregular teeth as opposed to like neat little ridges of teeth. But paint wise, I've already said how much I love the yellow here, and I still mean it. It's a very bright figure. Not biased at all. The yellow is my favorite color, but it looks really good. Toenails are painted. This top ridge, the crest, and some of the stuff going down the back is molded plastic, very bright looking. And then it has sort of a subtle white not an underbelly, just an underbite for its jaw, which I think gives it a little bit more variation than just having the figure be all yellow. So I really like the paint scheme here. For a Cryolophosaurus, you know, I think I imagined something a little darker. I don't know why, but I like it. I do like it. It does make him look a little bit more cartoony. The design paired with the color doesn't do it any favors, but I still really like the yellow, personally speaking. Yeah, that's basically the paint here. But we can go ahead and talk about the articulation next before we get into the action feature. That articulation, we have the arms that are on a joint with the pivot. Looks very nice. Lets you do all kinds of, you know, cool poses. If you need to, get it way back there. He's in stalking, hunting mode. The legs are individually articulated on a ball joint, so you can get him doing running poses and stuff like that. Very cool, like the Roarvors figures, that nice ball joint in the legs. And then the jaw, I already said, is articulated, so you can open it up like that in a roaring motion, or you can have it completely closed. Whatever you want to do that's not activated by a button. I think I thought it was when we first saw the figure, but nope, it is all articulation. So cool. But let's go ahead and play with Primal Attack on this figure. Again, this is going to be controlled by the tail. So it's all in the neck. You can't rotate it like this. It won't do anything, but it does go up and down. And you can, oh, if that didn't break something. So you can kind of move it up and down. Yeah, very nice. So it's really just a simple up and down. It kind of does. It goes to the left. It goes to the side too. To do a front view, you can see it go to the side. So yeah, that popping noise that you heard was the legs. Actually, it wasn't something inside. I was worried for a second, but it's not. Very cool. So yeah, that's the Primal Attack feature for this one. It's hard to show without activating all the crazy sound effects, which sound effects wise, this sounds sort of like a modified Indominus Rex. It sounds a little more high pitched. Maybe they tweaked it a little bit so it wasn't exactly the same. But it does the job. I wasn't paying attention with the Triceratops if those were new sounds, but I wouldn't blame them if they reused the sounds. But this does appear to be like an Indominus Rex noise. It's just modified. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a little bit more limited than some of the Primal Attacks, and it doesn't really let you pose it so much, but you can kind of hold it in a cool poses with Primal Attack, which is nice. That is the action feature for that one. So pairs well with articulation with the arms and the legs too. So that's kind of nice that you can still move the legs independently of one another. So that would be all of the Sound Strike figures that are out in this wave. We're still waiting on Edmontosaurus. That figure has yet to release, but Triceratops, Pteranodon, Cryolophosaurus, all looking really nice. Even the ones that are retooled are looking very nice and kind of, you know, worth it in regards to a re-release. But Cryolophosaurus is definitely the standout here. There's that Triceratops again, sounding off. But yeah, Cryolophosaurus definitely the standout here with that cool yellow color. Very nice figure. For a new species, Cryolophosaurus is definitely something that a lot of people know of. So good pick by Mattel to sort of give this wave of that's really just retools and one new figure, kind of give it kind of the boost it needs. So that would be all I really have to say about all these new Sound Strike figures. But again, we also covered the massive biters in the previous part of this review, so definitely check that out if you're hungry for more Primal Attack newness. But that's all I have to talk about today. Until the next time Primal Attack figures come out, I'm Tim with Collect Jurassic, and thank you for watching.